Most people think OnlyFans chatting is easy. You get on the page, talk to horny guys, send some titty pics and collect the money. It's not. OnlyFans chatting is a sales process. And if you don't understand the psychology behind it, you're leaving money on the table. We've been in the OnlyFans space for over 3 years and we've trained over 100 chatters using the 6 psychological frameworks I'm going to share with you today so you can start making more money from every conversation. So let's get straight into it. The first one is what I call the mirror effect. When a new fan messages you, the worst thing you can do is come in all excited. Replying with a bunch of emojis and long messages when he just said hey. It just feels fake. Think about it. If you sent a DM to a girl on Instagram and just said like hello, and she replied with a long paragraph with a bunch of emojis, you would think that something is seriously wrong with this girl. This is not normal, right? So the mirror effect is simple. You match the fan's energy. If he's chill, you're chill. If he's excited, you match that. You copy the length of his messages and the tone he uses. If he's sending one-liners, don't send paragraphs. If he's being playful, be playful back. If he's being serious, match that too. This works because people trust people who feel familiar. When someone talks like you, responds like you and matches your energy, your brain reads that as this person gets me. And that's when he starts opening up. That's when he starts spending. That alone will change how your conversations feel. But the next one is what tells you exactly when a fan is ready to spend. And most miss it completely. This is probably the most important thing I can teach you today. It's buying signals. A buying signal is when a fan shows you that he's ready to spend. The problem is most people don't recognize them. They either miss the signal and lose the sale, or they push too early when the fan isn't ready and they kill the vibe. There are two types, explicit and implicit. Explicit buying signals are obvious. So he says something like, I want to see your sex tape now, or how much for a custom. He's telling you directly. When that happens, don't waste time building rapport and sell. He's already there. If you keep chatting instead of selling, you might lose him. Implicit buying signals are harder to spot, but way more common. These are the subtle ones. He says something like, what are you wearing? That's a huge buying signal. He is indirectly suggesting for you to send him content. He's ready. Other implicit signals can be if he responds quickly, he sends longer messages, he starts asking personal questions, or initiates the conversation. Basically, if he's engaged and putting effort in the conversation. And then there are bad buying signals. Slow replies, one-word answers, short messages. That doesn't mean you can't sell to him, it just means that you can't sell to him right now. You need to work harder to get him there. So here's the thing, after every sale, the buying signals reset. Just because he bought one PPV doesn't mean he'll buy the next one. You need to rebuild. Send descriptive text, send a free teaser, keep the energy going, and then look for the signal again before you send the next one. Think of it like a content sandwich. Rapport, then sell, then more rapport, then sell again. You need that rapport on both sides of every sale. So now you know how to match someone's energy and read when they are ready to buy. But here's a bigger question. Who actually is steering the conversation? Because if you are not, you're losing money. This is what I call the passenger-driver philosophy. And it's simple. In every conversation, someone is driving and someone is the passenger. You always want to be the driver. You decide where the conversation goes. Here's an example. A fan asks, how was your day? Instead of saying, it was good, how about yours? You send a picture in bed and say, so tired, wanna keep me company? You didn't say anything sexual, you didn't push anything, but you just drove the conversation straight into a script, and the fan is going to follow your lead. The only time you can give up the driver's seat is when the fan is dominant and wants to lead. Some fans want to be in control. That's fine, let them. But even then, you're still guiding things. You're just doing it more subtly. Being the driver doesn't mean forcing things. It means having a direction. Every message you send should move the conversation closer to a sale, even if the fan doesn't realize it. Now you know how to steer the conversation. But here's the trick that makes every fan say yes to buying almost automatically. And it happens even before you send the PPV. I call this the yes train. And it's one of the most powerful sales techniques we use. The idea is simple. The more times someone says yes to you, the harder it is for them to say no. It's just how the brain works. So before you send a PPV, you don't just drop it out of nowhere. You build up to it with small yeses. You ask a flirty question, he says yes. You ask another one, he agrees. You say something suggestive, he goes along with it. Then you say something like, if I show you something, do you promise you'll go easy on me? And he says yes. Notice how this message was girly and innocent. After he says yes, this is when you send a PPV. He already said yes, he already made a commitment, and his brain feels like he has to follow through. But here's the rule. The yes train only works when the fan is already turned on. If he's still in casual conversation mode and you start asking flirty yes or no questions, it feels weird. It kills the conversation. You only use this when the arousal is already high. Now, look, I just walk you through 4 frameworks in a few minutes. If you want to see how all of these come together in a full step-by-step chatting guide that we use to train chatters in our agency, you can get it for free in the first link in the description. But even if you master all of this, it doesn't matter if you're spending 30 minutes talking to someone who will never buy. And that's what the next step fixes. When you're chatting, you're never talking to just one person. You're managing 10, sometimes 20 conversations at the same time. And the biggest mistakes people make is treating every fan the same. Giving everyone the same attention, that's just wrong. Some fans are making your money right now, others are wasting your time. So here's how we prioritize. Think of it like a pyramid. At the very top, fans are actively spending in a session. Those are your number 1 priority. They're spending right now. Second level, fans you're transitioning into a sexting sessions. You already sent the teasers and he's getting warmed up. Third, new fans you haven't tested yet. They could be spenders or time wasters. You don't know yet, so test them quickly. Fourth, relationship building after a session. This fan just spent money, so you want him to come back. Important but not urgent. Fifth, casual conversations with fans who already spent before. And at the very bottom, fans who you've tested before and they never spent. So you tested them multiple times. They don't get your attention at all because they're just wasting your time. When traffic gets high, you focus on the top of the pyramid. It's better to send quality replies to a fan who is spending than quick replies to everyone. This sounds obvious, but almost nobody does it. Most people reply to whoever messaged last. That's being reactive. The priority pyramid makes you strategic. And the last one ties everything together. Every sexting session follows a structure. You don't start with the most explicit content. You build up to it. And the price goes up with every single step. This is called the sales ladder. First PPV, $25. Second, $45. Third, $65, and so on. The prices go up for 2 reasons. Number 1, the content gets more explicit. The first PPV might be the model taking off her top, and the last one is the most explicit set of the content. And number 2, and this is probably the most important one, the fan's arousal is climbing. The more turned on he is, the more willing he is to spend. People can't think straight when they're turned on. And the prices aren't set in stone. You adjust it based on the spending power, what he is able to spend and how he is behaving. If he's buying PPVs the second you send them without even thinking and he is engaged in the conversation, you of course want to price it higher. But if he's taking long to reply and gives you dry messages, price it lower. The better you get at reading this, the more you will make. Now let's recap. 6 frameworks. The mirror effect. Match the fan's energy so he trusts you. Buying signals. Know when he is ready to spend and when he is not. Be the driver, always steer the conversation towards a sale. The yes train, get small commitments before the PPV. Priority pyramid, spend your time where the money is. And lastly, the sales ladder. Build the price up gradually. These are the things that separate people who follow scripts and people who understand why the scripts work. And when a fan goes off script, and he will, these are the frameworks that tell you what to do next. And if you want to see the actual chatting script that we use in our agency and how all of these frameworks come together in practice, watch this video next. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in the next one.